Brianna with Bre'sBooks here again to do my top books of 2015 so far. Since it's almost halfway through the year, I thought it would be a fun idea, and I've seen some other people do it. And so I have 8 books here to show you, and one more that I don't have but I really enjoyed. These are all 5-star rated books, obviously, and I read a lot of good books so far, so I'm anxious to see what the rest of the year has. But until then, here are some of my top ones. So the first one I want to mention that I read that I gave 5 stars to, that I really enjoyed, is Stardust by Neil Gaiman. If you haven't read that and you enjoy fantasy, fairy tale retellings, any of that good stuff, I highly recommend it. His writing is so beautiful in that book. I loved it so much. I don't own it. Hopefully I'm going to be getting a copy eventually, but it's one I highly recommend and I finally got to read this year. The one I read this year so far that I really enjoyed, gave 5 stars, was The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. Everyone and their dog has already read this. I was one of the last people to, I feel like, but I finally did, and it was so different and great, beautiful, and I really loved it. I liked it more than I thought I would, for sure, and I'm so glad I read it. I couldn't give it anything less than 5 stars. The writing was flawless. Next one I gave 5 stars to was Sarafina by Rachel Hartman. I feel like I mostly gave this 5 stars because it took me by surprise. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would, and it just had a very different take on dragons than you would normally expect. It's where dragons cannot actually take the form of humans, and there's some like civil war, like discontent between the human and dragon races, and it's just very interesting. It has a lot of political intrigue, which surprised me as well, and I was really intrigued by the depth of this story. Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore by Robin Sloan. This was an adult book, which I haven't read too many of. Was great. I don't know what else to say with these books except for they were all really great, and you should read it. Even if you don't normally read adult books, if you love books and you love a good mystery, maybe some like fantastical elements thrown in, you really enjoy this. It's, I don't know, it just makes you think. This is a good book to make you think, make you wonder about the world and its mysteries and its puzzles, and it's great. And also this cover glows in the dark, so there's that. Next book I actually read this month, and it gave it 5 stars, and it is The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Adi, and it was fantastic, beautiful retelling of Scheherazade and 1001 Nights, and if you're interested in that, you should definitely check it out. It was amazing and fantastic, gorgeously written, and I loved the setting and the time period and like the imagery the author used to just really make you feel like you were there, and I loved it. Next one I have is 5 to 1 by Holly Bodger. This was just really different and wonderfully unique dystopian futuristic novel. Pretty short, but it was half in verse, half in regular novel form, and it was 2 different viewpoints about the ratio of guys to girls in India being 5 to 1, and so women are very valuable and they have to have a competition to win a wife, and it's awesome. Another one I gave 5 stars to this year so far was Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. Another one that surprised me. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. It was also a lot deeper than I thought it was going to be, and really good character development in this. The characters at first, you're like not really sure if you really like them, at least with me. I wasn't really sure if I liked the characters, but they really grow on you and they like change so much over, this basically just takes place over one summer, and yeah, a lot of feels with this one. It was really good. Recommended highly. Another one I would highly recommend, 5-star rating, I read this year was Begonia by Maria Devana Headley. This is actually probably one of my top books of the year, like in the top 5 certainly. It was so freaking beautiful, and it was so different and wonderful, and it had like different characters that were still lovable, and I don't know what else to say, but if you like like other worlds and fantasy and like special powers. It was great. You should read it. I saved the best for last, or one of the best for last, certainly. A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Definitely gave 5 stars. I actually read this before a lot of people had even read it, back in like January or February, because I got an ARC early. And I'm so glad it's out now so everybody else can understand my ecstasy of reading this book. It was so good, and everybody should read it. I loved it a lot. A lot. It's a retelling of Beauty and the Beast in a fae world with magic, and that doesn't really do it justice at all, but that kind of gives you an idea of like the backstory of what's happening. But there's so much character depth and plot. When you think you know what's going to happen, it just like keeps going, and you're just like, whoa, she's doing that too? Like, how much more awesome can this get? So these, plus Stardust, are all the books I read so far this year that I gave 5 stars, and I wanted to show in this video. There are other books I gave 5 stars too, but these ones were my favorites out of the 5-star rated ones. And if any of these sounded good, you should definitely check them out. Try to make this video quick, but you know how I like to ramble on about great things like books. So we'll see you next time. Hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!